Good afternoon from AlphaCars. My name is Tom, coming to you from our Northampton location, and today we have a very special vehicle in front of us. We're looking at a 2011 Cadillac CTS-V Wagon. And yes, before we even get into all that, it is a manual, as I'm sure you've seen from the photos. This CTS-V Wagon is showing only 17,000 original miles. That is 17,000 miles on the odometer. Absolutely incredible to find an example like this, and we're very fortunate to have it in our inventory. Of course, if you'd like to see a high-resolution detailed photo set, please reference the listing at alphacars.com. There, of course, you will also find a free included Carfax report, alongside a long list of technical data related to the vehicle's remaining tire and brake life, as well as individual readings from each panel using our paint depth gauge. But today I'll take you on a quick condition overview around both the interior and the exterior of this stunning unicorn of a vehicle, as well as going over some of the most unique and interesting features. So starting here on the exterior, you will find it finished in this stunning gray, and I don't think it's going to quite come across on camera how beautiful this color really is. Thunder Gray Chroma Flare is what Cadillac deemed this color. It's absolutely stunning. It's got a really cool kind of pearlescent metallic effect when you see it in that bright sunlight. But for our real concern here as far as condition goes, you can see it's in absolutely stunning condition. This vehicle was owned by a dedicated collector who took excellent care, and you can really see that reflected in the appearance. It looks amazing. So going really close to the body so as to look for any dings, dents, or irregularities in the light reflection here. Going really close as we make our way past the driver's door, it all checks out. And all the way to the rear of the vehicle, it looks absolutely fantastic. You can see the chrome trim surrounding the windows, looks absolutely stunning. Same goes for the rails there on the side of the roof. And now we'll look a little bit lower, taking a look at these gorgeous satin black wheels, which I think complement that dark thunder gray color beautifully. You can see the Bridgestone tires in very nice shape as well. Not a nick of curb rash anywhere to be seen. These wheels look beautiful, and looking behind this wheel, you'll find in the front some massive vented rotors and that gigantic yellow caliper. It really fills up the wheel beautifully and gives it that aggressive look on a car that otherwise looks relatively subtle. That is until we look here at the front fascia, where you have this nice, really sculpted, aggressive look. Headlight lenses look beautiful. Looking here at the other side, it's just the same. The grille is that stunning chrome that we saw around the windows and other accents. And of course, wearing that Cadillac emblem just there in the center in perfect condition. Looking here, no major nicks or dings. You do have a small imperfection on the bumper just there, but it's very small amongst, the rest of the car being so stunning. A little bit more chrome in that grille, but I think that texture of that grille gives it a really elegant and interesting appearance here at the front. And just look at how aggressive this looks coming at you down the road. Really cool. Now, let's make our way to the passenger side, starting off looking at this front wheel. Equally beautiful condition, very nice with, again, those gigantic brakes just behind, looking awesome. Here you can see a little bit of how that color changes depending on lighting. Hopefully it comes through. It's got a lot more of almost a green and a blue hue to it in this lighting. It really is something to be appreciated in person on a bright sunny day. We hope you come check it out. As I pass the passenger's front door, you see that Cadillac V emblem just there. And make your way to the rear, it all looks absolutely stunning. Now lastly, our rear wheel here on the passenger side looks great as well. Now looking here at the rear of the vehicle, of course being a wagon, you can see you do have this hatch, which has some chrome trim like we've seen on the rest of the vehicle, all in gorgeous condition. Not a nick, scratch, ding, or anything on that loading area just there, and some more chrome trim to boot. And also here, no crazy aggressive diffusers. It's a very subtle rear end, but you do have those dual exhaust pipes flanking the rear bumper cover. I also love the tail lights that carry all the way sculpted into those roof rails, down the corner, and then flare out at the bottom to match with the rear bumper. It's a really nice styling cue in the back, and both taillight lenses look perfect. So now let's make our way to the interior of the CTS-V Wagon. And as I mentioned right off the jump, the first thing your eye's going to be drawn to is this just here. 6-speed manual gearbox. This is a very unique combination to find, especially now as these cars are getting harder and harder to come across. Here we have a unique color with no sunroof option, which is called slick top amongst collectors. It's a really nice thing to have. And then all of that with a 6-speed manual means that this vehicle is, by some estimates, around a 1 out of 20 or 21 produced in the year 2011 with this specific option setup. Really, really cool to find. Now here, looking at the seats, you have this beautiful leather trimming. Let me back the camera out just a bit. Beautiful leather trimming going down the side, showing minimal wear, and that nice Alcantara in the center of the seat to keep you really gripped up, being assisted by these massive bolsters on either side. Looking a little bit lower, you do have some very minor wear on the seat bottom. However, it all still looks very nice and feels great. You can see here that Recaro emblem there, and of course we know Recaro knows a thing or two about making excellent performance seats. And all of your adjustment switches just there. As I make my way inside, we cross over that V emblem on the door sill. Very subtle, but nice to see that. Looking at the beautiful door card, you have all of your window locking mirror controls. You have some nice silver kind of faux carbon trim. And reaching out, you do have that beautiful leather trimming on the armrest. Now I'm going to waste no time in firing it up. It is keyless start. I do have the key here in my pocket. However, there is that little fob built in. So you start it like a regular vehicle, but the key can remain in your pocket. See that needle sweep as we hear that aggressive bark from the 6.2 liter Chevy V8. But let's take a look here around the interior before we get to the real good stuff up front. Looking across the dashboard, beautiful condition. Not a bubble, not a tear. Nothing is peeling up, as you'll see in vehicles of this vintage. It all looks great. You have that double stitching with that nice white contrasted color carrying all the way across, and there's not a single thread pulling up. Not a single imperfection to be seen all the way across. I forgot to mention the passenger seat, also absolutely beautiful condition as we look all the way across it there. Now looking just ahead of me, I have this steering wheel with the V emblem just at the bottom and this gorgeous suede all around the area that you actually manipulate on the wheel. It is matting down just slightly. However, it still feels great in the hand. Looking on either side, you have your controls there for your cruise control as well as traction control, and just there some media and or phone controls. Just ahead of me is the gauge cluster. You can see, love the way those gauges are recessed into those chrome cylinders. It looks really cool, and it leads to some interesting reflections, as you can see. As I mentioned before, just over 17,000 original miles, an absolute gem to find in today's market. Now the vehicle is warm, as it was running as I just took some photos, but one thing I'd like you to see is on that tachometer, those little red lights, as you rev it, those red lights build behind the needle, and it leads to a pretty cool effect. Not something I had noticed in the past. Let's look a little bit here in the center. Now, of course, you have that very minimal screen. If I fire up the radio, you have your basic radio information just there. But let's say I throw the vehicle in reverse, or let's say I want to look at navigation. I'll show you reverse because it's the coolest example. If I throw the vehicle over in reverse, you hear that beep, and the screen rises out of the dash to reveal a nice backup camera. And then I'll throw it back in neutral, and eventually that screen will find its way back home. And we'll come back to that in a moment. If I started driving away, it would do it on its own. There it goes. So we'll come back to that in a second. Here we have some piano black trim carrying down the center with all of these switches in the mix. You have that power and volume button on the left with that nice chrome trimming. You have an analog clock, as well as your tuning function just there, as well as your equalizer control. Here you have on the left that nav with the arrows. That actually is a button which controls this screen. Once it rises up, you'll see that Cadillac logo fills it. If I turn it on, we now have our radio. I can go to navigation, open up the map. If I push nav again, I can now do a split screen. And this is all controlled via this panel here in the center, and we can see all of the buttons look fantastic. I'll now power that down and drop it back into place. A little bit lower here, you do have your climate controls with your temperature adjustment for either side, as well as your heated and ventilated seat controls just to the left. A little bit further down, small compartment just here, which moves away perfectly smooth to reveal a small amount of storage, as well as that little power outlet, and that clicks right back into place. Here, of course, the crown jewel of this entire vehicle is that 6-speed manual gearbox. We can see the suede matting just a little bit there. However, again, feels great in the hand. You can see the V emblem just there. Shifts beautifully. It's a lovely gearbox, and it doesn't let you forget that this is, in fact, a muscle car. You can feel through the clutch pedal and through that the shifter and the steering and the brake pedal, everything screams performance, American pinnacle of performance. But you're looking at a beautiful, luxurious wagon, so it is kind of a odd, throws you for a loop a little bit, but it's a lovely combination. Here you have your parking brake control just there, indicated in the gauge cluster. And if I remove this panel, it reveals a couple of nice cup holders, and it's nice to be able to stow those away when they're not in use. Here I have a nice center console armrest, as well as just a little bit of storage. I can reveal the top compartment, or use the other switch and reveal a bigger compartment with some power, as well as auxiliary input for your stereo. Usual stuff. Just above my head, we have garage door openers, as well as dome light controls, and your mirror just there. But I've gone through a tour here at the front of the CTS-V Wagon. Let's take a look there under the hood at what powers this wonderful machine. I'll meet you there. All right, so now we're here under the hood of the CTS-V Wagon. You'll find it very subtle under the hood here. Lots of plastic trimming all the way around, which looks really nice, with the exception of a couple of imperfections just there, which I'm sure can be remedied. But it starts to get a little bit less subtle, if I'm honest, when you look here dead in the center at all of these badging. You can see the supercharged script down the side. You have that bright V emblem in the center. And of course, you may be wondering, what is this big hump in the middle? Well, that is the 1.9 liter supercharger mounted to the top of the 6.2 liter LS V8. Now, it's a beautiful combination. This engine produces a little bit over 555 horsepower, an incredible amount of torque, thanks to that wonderful supercharger there on the top. Power sent through that 6-speed manual gearbox to the rear wheels, and it will propel this vehicle to 60 miles an hour in 4 seconds dead, 4 seconds flat, which is an absolutely incredible stat for a vehicle with this shape. If you keep your foot in it, go all the way out to 6th gear, the speedo is going to stop moving just after 180 miles an hour. It's an incredible vehicle. You can look around just for a moment, looking at the condition. All of the reservoirs look fantastic. Plastics shining beautifully. You can see here that nice strut brace carrying across the engine bay in perfect shape, no pitting or damage to be seen there. Looking down into the engine a little bit further, everything looks clean and sounds very happy here at a steady idle. It's just an amazing powertrain to have in a vehicle like this one. Worth noting also, while you're going down the highway, it's going to get Who Cares MPG, and in the city it's also going to get Who Cares MPG, because this isn't why we get these enthusiast big V8 wagons, because this vehicle is for something different. It's really special, and we're not going to worry too much about our time at the gas pump. Now, taking a look here at the rear seating, absolutely stunning condition. You can see they added a little accent here with that leather strip that runs through that Alcantara insert on both sides, and it looks great. Now, I have the driver's seat set up in a very comfortable driving position. It's not at all tight in the front for me right now, and I'm about 6'4" tall, and I'll make my way into the back here. And though it looks a little bit tight, in a very comfortable driving position, I do have leg room, and I have just enough headroom. I do mean just enough headroom. It is a little tight for a 6'4" adult sitting behind a 6'4" adult, but to be in a 550 plus horsepower stick shift vehicle and to sit here comfortably with a driver, a passenger, you could have 3 across here if you were really ambitious. It's not something you can get anywhere else, and I think your rear passengers will be okay with a little bit less room than they might have in, say, your Q5 or something else, because this is a different thing entirely. So, lastly, I'm going to make my way here to the rear, because, of course, this is what makes it the CTS-V Wagon. I'm going to do one touch on that switch. It's going to raise up the power hatch, And here we have some interesting goodies here. We have, of course, a little bit of memorabilia, you know, Cadillac racing. We do have a battery tender that just there with the vehicle. You also have this mat, which I don't want to fumble with it, but if you unravel it, it'll unravel down and drape over the bumper. So if you're loading something into the back of the vehicle, it's going to protect this beautiful painted surface here at the back. It's a lovely touch. We also have a box full of really nice oil for the vehicle. You could tell this owner was prepared for lots of maintenance and keeping the vehicle in perfect running order. In this bag here, we have a variety of goodies, including a car cover and some other, you know, care items for the vehicle. I'll remove this out of the way to reveal the floor mats in very nice condition. And under here you have a, you know, the privacy blind here, which locks in perfectly. And you have some other memorabilia just there. We also have a folder including the, you know, original window sticker, various other things that you might find interesting if you're interested in this vehicle. And everything is photographed in the listing, so if you run over to alphacars.com, likely where you came across this video, you'll see those photos highlighted. And the last thing, as I one-touch operation drop that tailgate down, latches perfectly into place, or the hatch rather. One more thing that we have for the vehicle is a beautiful engraved piece of aluminum artwork that goes over the entire spec of the vehicle in detail with every option. It's really special. Make sure you go take a look at the listing to get a look at that, because it's not something I've seen before, and it's just a testament to how much the previous owner cared about this particular car. But if you have any further questions related to this stunning Cadillac CTS-V Wagon, please reference the listing at alphacars.com, and there you will find all of the relevant contact information, as well as those absolutely gorgeous photos. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you from AlphaCars.